Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations and welcome to today's live stream. As you can see, I've got a little jacket on here. It's a little bit chilly down here, and of course I need to keep myself warm because I have been very ill. It's the reason why I haven't been doing any live streaming is I got the old influenza about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. And really knocked me flat, and I'm still recovering from it and everything. But I felt it was important to get live streaming. I'm going to do my best to make sure I don't cough right down the barrel of the microphone, but this is me at the moment, I'm afraid. Hello to Dave. Hello to Jay from the House of Moth. Hello, Rudy's Retro Intel. Hello to Cheshire Noir. Hello to Welcome to Markintosh. SadMac356. Hello, KMac Vintage. Hello, Will. Where do we go? There we go. There's Nick Amels Anonymous. Amels Anonymous, is he? So, as I said in the thumbnail and the description of this video, the main purpose of this is to give a bit of a first test run of a new soldering station that I've got here. So this is the good people at Fnirsi. I just reviewed their little multimeter oscilloscope recently, and I was made aware of the this soldering station that they had, and I thought I'd like to give it a try. So I asked them to send me one, and they sent me one, and I have got it here on the desk, and I'll just sort of talk about it a little bit. I am going to be releasing a proper product review video for it, but one of the most important things with these products is I've got to test them out, and of course, test them out while I'm doing a live stream. Excuse me. Ignore email I sent you just a bit ago as you have no answer to the question. There you go. I don't know what the question was, but excuse me while I just pause for a second and I do a loud cough. On the bright side, everything is improving. I was very, very sick there for a while, and of course I had a very, very, very bad cough as well. And the cough is actually starting to improve, starting to loosen up a little bit, so I'm feeling a little bit more human. Yeah. So anyhow, that's just life. So basically, here's the history. Here's the fun history. I got shingles a while ago, some weeks ago. And that's just bad luck, you know. It's just because I had chickenpox when I was a kid, and then just out of luck, I got shingles, and then they were just sort of getting better, and then I got hit with this flu. Or my wife basically got it somewhere, we don't know where, but she came home, and then like day or two after, you know, she was starting to feel sick, and then a day or two after that, then I got it. So. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Silly Siri talking to me. Okay. Ascertain 20, hello. Locksport Click, hello. No, it was not COVID. I did actually get tested for when I went to the doctor about it, because I had all sorts of like additional symptoms. I had all sorts of bloody things going wrong with me, and I went to the doctor just to get all checked out. And while I was there, he did just a broad kind of virus check thingy to find out what it was, and it was influenza A. So there you go. So yeah, not COVID. I did do a COVID test, but yeah, no, it wasn't COVID. Chris Angelis, hello there. You should got the shingles shot. Yeah, I should have, but they generally don't give them to people that are as young as me. They usually give them to people much older than me, because I'm only 52. So it's once you're over 50, you are at risk. But generally, it's sort of like, you know, at this age, it's still relatively low risk. It's usually people that are older than me. So I don't think anyone would have thought to have given me that shot. Shot to the heart. What are we doing? Okay, so a couple of things. So in my last live stream, whenever that was, it's a while ago now, I think. It could have even been the one before it. I was looking at this little guy, which is a little accelerator for an LC 475. It requires a 605. And it worked while I was doing my live stream, and I was like, whoa! But then when I went back up to the house and connected it all up, it stopped working again. So I brought this down and I gave it a good old clean in the Ultrasonic and all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to see if I can get that working again. We'll have to give that another try. Now, I've got some foot pedals now under here, so I can just change views like this, which is going to be quite handy. I think it's going to be a quite useful thing. Here's my keyboard. We can move that out of the way. I've got this is my little 68040 CPU puller. I've got to send one of these across to James Wages. I promised to do that for him just before I got sick. Hang on, got to pause for a sec. Oh joy, oh joy. Shall we say hello to the chickens? Oh, okay. Hello, chickens. Sorry about that. Alright, so we're looking at, these are the tips that came with this soldering iron, this soldering station. 9 in total. There should be 9 here. If there aren't, I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, there we go. Got 3 little ones, and we've got 6 big ones. Now, these are referred to as, I think they're called C245s or something like that. They're actually the same soldering iron tip as another company. I can't think of it. Cold, wet and miserable today in Melbourne. Top of 12 degrees C, now 9. Ew, that's awful. It's 14 here now, but the sun's shining. That's quite nice. It's nice to have the sun out. It's been pretty, yeah, I mean, the weather's been off and on, I suppose. So yeah, the chickens are out there, but for whatever reason, there's some sort of problem with my camera setup. I probably need to restart my computer in the house that does all my security stuff. Okay. So, the soldering station that I got is one called a DWS-200, and I should actually disconnect it and bring it a little bit closer here so you can see it. I'll just do it with the top view camera here. I'll just have to unplug it because this plug isn't very long. Now, I have 3D printed some stuff for this. So you've basically got... so I'm going to unplug it. Guts to unplug it. Okay, so this is the main part of the soldering station here. And as I have commented on before, it looks like a robot's foot to me, but you know, I just imagine this being a big robot's foot. One of the things I will say about it, it's not as heavy as it looks. It looks like this should have a pretty decent amount of weight to it, but it doesn't. It's actually relatively light. It is DWS-200, so it's a 200 watt iron. So that's that there. It has these little holes in the side where you can connect up these little helping hands that came with it, these little bendy articulated things you can just plug into the side if you want to use those for holding what you're soldering still. I probably won't use these much. It just doesn't really suit my workbench layout, but there you go. Good on you, Chris. So I've had a few people, you know, so this one was recommended to me. And I have been using a Hacko for a while and it's been pissing me off. So I'm very happy to actually be doing something else. Now, these are designed here so that you can put your tip in like that with the hot end down. Now, the reason why you put it with the hot end down, let me just get another one here. Zoopity-doo. Yoopity-doopity-boop. Okay, there's the main one that I use. So the idea is you put them in, you have them in there like that, and then when you want to use them, you can just jab like that and then pull it out. I don't think I'll be doing it that way, but you know, it's there as an option. I don't know how heat resistant this rubber thing is. I don't know how cool you need to let that be before you can put it in there, but yeah. Excuse me. Now, very important thing about these. As I say, I've been using the Hacko for a while, and one of the reasons I like the Hacko is because it uses cartridge tips. That's these here. That's a T12 tip. You can get any number of like tips on the end there, and then this whole thing is the heater, and it's a real advantage actually having the whole. Oops, I just clicked the wrong thing with my foot. The advantage of having the whole thing as the heater is it just has much better heat transfer. It heats faster and all that sort of stuff. But this is relatively old technology. Hacko introduced these T12s a very, very long time ago, and things have come a long way since then, and we now have these other cartridge tips. And as you can see, this one is a lot smaller. These ones get hot way faster. So, Gibatronics, hello there. You have not missed much, not much at all. I'm just talking over this soldering station, which I'm going to be using today. We're going to just build a couple of things while I use it, and then I'm going to wax lyrical while I'm doing so. So yeah, this is the main station. Then this is the top bit. And I quite like this. This is metal here, so this goes in there. And then you can raise or lower that to whatever position you like. And then it's got this little sticky up thing to hold the cable, to keep the cable up high so it doesn't get caught on things. And then it's got this little brass, bronze thing, brass, whatever it is, brush for cleaning your tip. And I really like that. I don't know if they're replaceable, but I like that. And then you've got this metal thing here, which is designed for pulling the tips out while they're hot. And then, of course, you can hold them at the end because they don't get hot all the way down to the tip. So you can hold them and move them around as you see fit. I have 3D printed this because even though this is designed for one to sit next to the other, I've designed it to sit on top of each other so that I can minimize desk space wastage. So this goes in the bottom like this. Just like that. And then this goes on the top like that. And I'm very happy with that. I like it. How much do I like it? Heaps. So I'm just going to plug all this back in again so we can actually use it. And then we'll solder some stuff. Oh crap, sorry. Yeah, I will be definitely making this thingy available for 3D print soon. I just, obviously the main thing with this is I need to test it out, make sure it's all good, and that I have done all the good things, and I don't need to make any other modifications. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to show you something here, because this is kind of nifty. Once I move this soldering station where I want, you won't be able to see this anymore. I'm going to switch him on, press the big power button in the front there, switches on. Okay, when the iron tip is ready, press it in the sleep seat or any key to start working. So I can just press any key or put it in. So I'm going to just press any key to start it. So I go, okay. Okay, so you can see the temperature there. I've got this set on, I believe, 425. And bang, we're there. That's how long it took to heat up to 425 degrees C. It is quite blisteringly fast. So that just gives you an idea of where things have come with these. And then this on the front here is basically showing its power output. You can see it's using about 4 or 5% power to maintain this temperature, as opposed to when it's trying to get up the temp. But if I were to go and grab something like this, like this, a great big piece of copper with some solder on it, we want to melt that solder. I'm just going to plonk this on there. You'll actually see that power increasing there because it's needing to increase the power to bring up the heat. Because it's the heat's being sucked away by this copper. You've got this little button here where you can press it, and it's got a little chart to show you the temperature on the front if you want a chart. Who doesn't want a chart? I mean, come on. It's just a stupid question. Everyone wants a chart. And then you've got you can set 3 pre-programmed settings. It tells you what sort of tip you've got in there. It's telling me I've got a 245. You can't see that at the moment, but it says F245. That's their word. That's the Fnirsi 245, but I have it on very good authority that you can stick other 245s in there, like C245s, and it will be none the wiser. All right, so I'm going to unplug this and plug it in over here where I can actually use it properly. But anyhow, this is one of the reasons why I was actually interested in trying this out, because the Hacko, in my opinion, is a little bit behind when it comes to soldering technology. Okay, now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build something. This is another one of these things that was sent to me by Mr. Tech Gadget. I'm not sure if he is watching today, but he sent me a whole bunch of stuff for the Apple IIe, which of course is great fun because I love a bit of Apple IIe fun. One of my very first computers. Now this is a thing called an A2 Pico. Now if Rudy's around, he'll probably be able to tell me what this is better than I can say. So Multifunctional Apple II peripheral card utilizing a Raspberry Pi Pico. There are multiple firmwares available to provide a drive disk emulator, Z80 CPM, soft SP, I assume that's smart port, serial interface with Raspberry Pi, UART terminal. I'm not really sure about this stuff. This is all stuff beyond me. Now, Z80 CPM. So is that like, does that mean you can run the CPM operating system on it? I'm not really sure. It's pre-flashed with A2 RetroNet, a hard drive emulator, enhancing a video system modern capabilities. It's complex. We've got some little instructions here for assemblage. And he sent me two. This is very nice of him. So I can make one as one thing and one as another thing. So this is the board here. Whee. Isn't it nifty? So nifty. I'm just so impressed with all this stuff. Fahrenheit option. Yes, of course there's a Fahrenheit option. Yes, I mean, there's just, when you use it, it has standard settings. There's a settings thingy there, and in the settings you can choose what sort of temperature you want to use, scale you want to use, but I think it might have even defaulted to Fahrenheit. But the way it works, this has 3 modes. It's ultimately got its heating mode, it's got its sleeping mode, and it's got its standby mode. When it's in its sleeping mode, it actually just hovers at 100 degrees C, so it's so that it just doesn't take as long. So when I lift this up, it'll start heating, and we're there. So that's how long it takes to heat up. Pretty nifty, eh? Excuse me, Foxhound. I'm just going to cough, and then I'll tell you what you've missed. Okay, what you've missed is me telling everyone that I have been sick, very sick, for the past few weeks, which has been very unpleasant. I don't wish it on anyone. And what else? And I'm testing out a new soldering iron. Foxhound 477, I will tell you at the end of this live stream, everything I've seen so far I like, but I haven't necessarily, there's only one thing at this stage that I have a bit of an issue with, and it's this rubber thing here. That's just, you know, with the use that the soldering iron, that I give a soldering iron, that's going to be stuffed in probably less than a month. Is that board on the left corroded, or is it just, oh, this one here? This one does look corroded, doesn't it? It must just be the lighting, because it's not. It's very shiny. They're both fine. They're shiny. It just must be the light. See? It's weird. It does look corroded, doesn't it? Word. It's so weird. Oops. Sorry, I don't want to snort. I'm just going to... Get well, the world needs you. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to have to do is going to have to put this here. We've got a little screen printed thing there that just says USB. See? USB. So that's where we're going to put the USB port, just there. And that's just going to sit there like that. We're getting all pretty used to that. You can, of course, use headers on this if you want to mount it a little bit higher. But I just don't see a need, so I just like to solder that down like that. Yes, sir, I do. Yeah, and we've got a few other things that we've got to solder on there, but that'll all be fun. I'm just wondering, you know, I might put the SD card slot on here, because they're a bit of a cow to solder, and once I actually put that on top, it's going to make it even harder to access those. Roger, hello there. Thank you. I am on the improve, I will say that. I am improving. My health is better today than it was a week ago. So, you know, I mean, I can't complain. It's just slow. It's, you know, when you get a cold, you know, when, like, you know, the season hits and you get a cold and it's like, this is nasty and I feel awful and everything. Yeah, well, you kind of get reminded of the difference between a cold and flu when you get the flu, you know, and you suddenly realize, yeah, this is, you know, I mean, normally if I get a cold, I can just, like, you know, okay, a couple of days down and then I'm back to normal. But you know, there's been nothing normal going on lately. Oh, wow, he's got holes in here to hold the thing in place. That's so cool. I love that. So this little SD card slot, he's got two little holes there that line up with these two little holes here. Who designed this? Open Hardware. Okay. Bad stuff is flying around sitting. Yeah, I know. Everyone I know has been sick. Well, almost everyone I know has been sick lately. All right, so let's get into some soldering here, shall we? So we're going to flick over to the... I just did that with my foot, everyone, just so that everyone can see how high-tech I am. I can just go like this, and then I can just go like that, and then I can just go like this, and then I can go like that, and then I can... Come on. Come on. What are you doing? Uh-oh. What's happened? Something's happened. Oh, we've got tech failure. Something to do with this. It's going to be bloody OBS. We know that whatever the problem is going to be, it's going to be OBS. Oh, didn't last very long. Scope. I can see it doing it. It's doing it. It's just not having an effect. Never mind. I'm just going to do it, okay? Just going to do it. Right, I'm going to get a bit of flux down here onto these pads. And what I will usually do with these is solder on... God, even my hands are shaky. Terrible. I will solder a little bit on the sides here. Make sure it's nice and secure, and then I'll do all the little teeny weeny pins. That was good. That was a decent amount of heat, just straight up there, straight off the bat. Boo boo. Wow, there's no doubting the heat coming off this thing. Just saw the guy who invented the hypercard died. Oh, I did hear that someone died, but I wasn't sure who it was. Okay, hang on. Alejandro, hello? I am not expert on circuit shit, and I just got this iron, but there is complaint about the grounding, and when you open it, there is a missing piece on the board. Are you aware? No, I'm not. Should I open it up? We're talking about the DW-200, yeah? Okay. There we go. Let's get a little bit of excess off there. Okay, well, I might have to open it up. I can't do that right now because I'm soldering with it. Alright, now when it comes to putting these Picos on, I generally just try and line them up as best as I can, then I just solder one end and then I do the other end. Yeah, well, I will definitely have a look inside. I mean, I normally do look inside pretty much anything that I mean, I'm just in the process of reviewing a water distiller at the moment. I know that seems like a weird thing to be doing on a tech channel, but I use a lot of distilled water, and so I thought being able to distill water myself might be quite handy. So I've got a water distiller, and I've been doing a product review on it. Nearly finished it. Just got to do some talkies, you know, where I stand in front of the camera and go, Blah 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 blah. Hi, my name's Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. Blah 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 blah. Ah, people. There we go. That's looking good. It's very good. Haven't seen you in a while. It's been a few months. I got a hot air station. Awesome. What sort of hot air station did you get? RW? Excuse me. Do. So the length of the tip, in terms of where the tip is in comparison to where your fingers are, is good. So you can get really good control. So where I'm actually holding it at the moment, in terms of how far away the tip is from my fingers, it's really good, and it doesn't get hot either. So far, anyway. On the Hacko, if you're using it for a while, it gets hot. Bum ba bum bum bum. I need to build some more blue scuzzies as well, because I got a new. I say new. I got another vintage Mac the other day, an LC2. I don't want to get that all restored and make sure it has a little blue scuzzy in it and everything. Love the little tip cleaner. That is definitely one of the best tip cleaners I've seen. Yes, new to me. It is definitely new to me. Juan, hello. Tevruden, hello. Patrick Pitts, hello. Excuse me. So once again, just letting everyone know, I do apologise for all the horrible noises I have been making. I have been very, very sick over the last few weeks. I had influenza A, and it really knocked me around, and is continuing to knock me around. And so I'm just letting everyone know that I am making some funny noises, unpleasant noises, and all that sort of stuff. Right, let's start soldering some stuff. We've got some capacitors here. I think they look like these, because here we go, 100 nanofarad. And we go to C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. Hacko F8, okay, cool. Cool. These Fnirsi guys make a hot air station, which I might actually have to give it a try. It's not really what I would normally look for in a hot air station, but it might be alright, we'll see. I don't know if you don't try, I use a, just in case anyone's wondering, I use a WICK 861DW hot air station. It's a good one. I've been very happy with it. Really can't complain. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but it's never skipped a beat. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to start getting some solder onto some pads here for my capacitors. C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C2, C1. What? Yeah, C2. We know what C1. C1's a big fat one. C2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. £30. LED1. C8. Okay. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, God, I got no falsetto at the moment, thanks to my being unwell. I would love for it to be 37 degrees. I really don't like cold. It's really funny because, I mean, everyone getting sick just seemed to happen all of a sudden. Everyone just seemed to be cruising along fine, and then everywhere I look, there's like people coughing and spluttering, and people sort of unwell, and the guy I work with, he was sick as well. There we go. Okay, so how many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, these are relatively large capacitors, so shouldn't have too much trouble plonking these into position. Oops. So I have it on good authority that there was some sort of swap meet on today somewhere in the United States of America. Does anyone know anything about that? Some sort of VCFE style swap meaty type thingy. Who's the jobby? I melted plastic onto this and now it stinks. Ow. I can try and wipe some of that shit off. Without burning myself. $30°C, I would love that. I'd like to get a better desoldering solution. I've got a ZD915 Moo gun. It's getting a bit long in the tooth. I just don't want to spend big dollars and get a Hecko underground. Stone dolls would be good. Yeah, I haven't been doing that much of that kind of desoldering of through-hole stuff lately, so I haven't really needed the Moo gun. Generally, when I just have a small amount, like if I'm just recapping a power supply, I tend to either just use my manual clicker one, or I just use some solder wick. I've had nothing but problems with my Moo gun. It works well like once in a friggin' blue moon. ZD915 good Moo unit, cool. I don't know what I've got. What is it? Doesn't have any codes written on it. RW, so the flux, this flux is not conductive. They actually refer to this as a no-clean flux, but the main reason why they call it a no-clean flux is because it's not corrosive and it's not conductive, so theoretically you could leave it on. But I never leave flux on anything that I work on after I've worked on it. Ever. And I think it's a very, very bad practice. So yeah, I would say to everyone that when you're working, get rid of the flux. So this flux here that I use has a UV tracer in it. So when I actually shine a light, a UV light, you can actually see that's the flux there appearing on the board. So this is a good way of checking to see that you've got all the flux off when you're finished. You can just use a UV light to see if any of it remains on the surface. That's one of the reasons why I do recommend a flux with UV tracer. And guess which brand that would be? It would be Styri. So there are links in the description for anyone who wants to try it out. I'm currently using my favorite flux at the moment, which is Styri ASM. It is, in my opinion, one of the best fluxes to use. The downside to it is not REACH compliant, which means I don't think you can even buy it in parts of the EU. And it has some less than friendly chemicals. So if you're going to be using it, you definitely want to have very good fume extraction. If you're wanting something which is a little bit healthier for you, I'll go with the Styri V5 TF. Great all-purpose flux and a little bit more chemically friendly. Okay, now C1. This one's going to be a big fatty. There he is. Look at him, big fatty. Fatty, fat. Like the V5, no smell, clear and good consistency. Yep, V5's a good flux, make no mistake. And generally if someone was coming to me and saying, hey, what flux would you recommend? I think the V5 would probably be what I would recommend. I think it's just a good all-rounder. Excuse me. This one's a little bit tricky to get in here, isn't it? Should I change my tip? I'm going to change my tip. Because I can. I'm going to use one of my probably second most used tips. Maybe third most used tips. This thing bips when you don't have a tip in it. Pardon me. So this one is a conical tip, but it's got a slight bend to it, and that means you can kind of come in at the side like this and get nice sort of surface coverage, sort of, what do you call it? Heat transfer. Whoops. Went too hard. You saw what I did? You saw what I did? What happened is I applied so much heat, I transferred it all the way through the whole fucking component. Oops, I just swore. All the way through the whole component, and then melted the other side. Crazy. Styri sent me some solder to try. I like how quickly it melts and flows, but has a bad smell. Yeah, I've got some Styri solder here as well. They sent me one which is a really, really thin one. Probably a little bit too thin for what I use. And then one which is just a little bit thicker than I would normally use, but still quite usable. Excuse me, I'm not sure that I'm ready to replace my Kester yet. But we'll see. I will definitely give it a try. This spool that I've got's nearly out, and when that's gone, I'll change over. Oh, let me grab it now, actually. I got it here. That's another one of Kester. Here we are. This is it here. Styri. So this one is 0.8 millimeters. I normally use 0.5 millimeters. So this is a little bit thicker. But we'll just see. We shall just see what we shall see when we see it. Right. Resistors. That's what we're up to now. Someone going to say it? Someone going to say the thing from Star Trek? 1K, 10K, 1K, 10K. And 10K, we need 3 of them. No, that's not the thing I was going to say. It's the thing about resistance. No, mine is not a 1-piece. Mine is a 2-piece, but I have 3D printed a stand. If you zip back a little bit in this video, where I actually have it there in front of me, I actually show the 2 pieces, and then I show the stand that I printed, that I 3D printed, so that I can have one of the pieces mounted on top of the other piece. I've got really limited space here on this desk, so anytime I have an opportunity to make things go up rather than going sideways, I take it. Okay, so this one is 2, 3, and 4. R2, 3, and 4. These are 10K. 2, 3, and 4. And they're all sticking to my TWEEZERS. So stop it. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. No, no, no. Here's a 2. So I was going to try this solder, wasn't I? 2. Three and 4. I love the cleaning brush on this. Without a doubt, the cleaning brush is the most awesome thing. I hope they can be replaced, because that is just the bestest of the bestest. It's amazing, you know, I kind of forget just how much this illness has taken it out of me. I'm sitting here doing live streaming. It's like, it's not exactly high energy stuff, but I'm just sort of feeling almost like a breathlessness. I'll probably have a lie down afterwards. Wish I had a 3D printer. Well, you can... What's that wonderful line from Bad Santa? Wish in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one fills up first. Excuse me. My recommendation to anyone who's interested in 3D printing is now is probably one of the best times to get into it. There was a very long time there where 3D printing was very much for geekheads. And you know, now you can actually just buy off-the-shelf units where you just plug them in and you start printing. You might need to get a little bit of understanding of slicing and stuff like that, but you know, gone are the days where you need to be sitting there worrying about E-steps and tramming and flow rates and all that sort of crap, and sitting there having prints come out wrong and then trying to figure out what you need to do to fix them. Is my foot pedal working again yet? Nope. I'm telling you, it's OBS. The foot pedal is doing its thing. Where's my keyboard? Where is my keyboard? Where did I put my keyboard? Here it is. So if I actually press the function keys here on the keyboard, let me just try that. Function 1. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely OBS. OBS is the thing being a pooper. Did you publish a 3D model for the CPU remover? No, not yet. So everything came to a grinding halt when I got sick. I'm supposed to send one off to... I made a video of how to assemble it, but I'm supposed to send one off to... what's his name? James Wages. And so this is his here. I've got to send it across to him. But... yeah, everything just came to a grinding halt when I got sick. So, you know, all the things that I was in the middle of doing just sort of stopped. So it will get published. It will get published. Okay, we need R1 and R5. R5. R1. Never heard that saying. Yeah, it's from Bad Santa. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. They made a sequel, which apparently is atrocious, but the very first Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton is quite a funny film. And what's his name? John Ritter, I think, is in it as well. He's brilliant in it. But yeah, what I would say to everyone, I mean, look, get into 3D printing. But most importantly, get into 3D modeling. It's one of the most wonderful things. So rewarding. And of course, the other thing is I've been able to use it to keep a lot of products working well past, a point where you might put them out to pasture. When parts break on things, I'll go in and 3D print replacement parts to keep things going. Okay, these are 1000 ohm resistor. I need 2 of them. Duh. I'm starting a video series of 3D modeling for 3D printing. So beginner's guide to 3D modeling for 3D printing using the software Onshape. As I've sort of said before, I'm very sort of outspoken towards people, not just having 3D printers, but being able to model their own stuff or get stuck, create, stuff from their own brain, and build your own things. Garage is too humid and the PLA snaps before it's fed into the printer. Yeah. Well, I do have the same problem. I've got an air conditioner. I have my 3D printers in my office. And I do have an air conditioner there, so I can go in and dry the air out if needed. But I do have issues with humidity there. Depends, here in Sydney it can be dry, it can be humid. But yeah. So Will's saying he likes the 0.8mm solder as it does not move through your fingers as fast as 0.6mm that I also use at times. So I can solder more, needing to adjust the solder of my fingers. Excuse me. Yeah, I would definitely agree that, in particular if you're doing a whole bunch of through-hole stuff, which really just sucks the solder up. When I'm doing a lot of that, I actually like to use a thicker solder. I usually use like a 1mm when I'm doing that. Because, yeah, as you say, when you've got the really fine stuff, you're just constantly feeding it through your fingers, trying to get more and more of it. Alright, so that was resistors. Now we've got a couple of dioculars. Little diodes. I assume it's going to be these guys here. These look like Schottky diodes. I have to start just pulling all this crap out. It's getting too hard to get to it. Okay. So it's D1 and D2. There's D2. There's D1. When I do these, I'll solder these in the same way that I would like a tantalum capacitor. I don't... when I'm doing the little tiny components, I put the solder onto the pads first. Then I use hot air to actually put them in position. With something a little larger like this, I'll actually just usually put a little bit of flux onto the... flux onto the board, like that. Plonk the component in place. And then get some solder onto my iron, and then just the flux will then transfer it onto the pad. Excuse me. SS14. I have a collection of diodes somewhere and I've lost them. In one of my other previous live streams, I was needing them and I couldn't find them, and I still haven't found them. But having said that, I haven't properly looked for them. Away. So diodes have a line on them. Diodes need to be put on a particular way. And so this one you can see has a line there on the left, and that line needs to go in the same direction as this U sort of shaped thing around the component there. Got to do something about these tweezers. They've got a nice little bend on the end of them. The two 3D printers that I have mainly use, they're both Creality printers. One of them is an Ender 3V3 Plus, which has a large, I think it's 350 by 350 millimeter, or is it 300 by 300 or 330 by 300? I don't know. It's got a large print area, and the other one I use is a Creality K1. That's a Core XY printer, very, very fast. It's got, I think, a 220 by 220 print bed, something like that. But between those two, I'm able to 3D print just about anything that I want. Okay, now we've got the U's. We're up to U2, U3, U4, which are going to be these guys down here, yeah. This is where the soldering gets fun. One, two, three. So I'll get a bunch of flux onto here. And this little line up the right here that shows us where pin 1 is. Let's have to find pin 1. There we go, there's pin 1. We've got a nice little dot on the component there. I love surface mount soldering. I've said it many times, say it again. I love it. Just going to mute for a minute while I do a nice big cough. There we go. Right. As with all my little sort of, what would you call these? What do you call these? I'm not sure what you call these packages, but for these sorts of ones, I always just do one little pin in the corner, and I sort of straighten it out. Do one pin in the other corner, and then solder the rest. Didn't even need to add any solder to that. There was enough solder just on the pads. Anyone know a good antivirus that doesn't turn your laptop into a desktop heater? Good question. The only sort of virus protection that I have on my computer is a thing called malware bytes, and that's more of a malware thing, but Is that a blue pill you are making for an old Mac? No, this is an Apple IIe thing. It's called an A2 Pico. It was given to me as a gift. I was hoping someone in the chat might be able to tell me some of the stuff this does. One of the things you can apparently do with it is you can set it up. It just says Z80 CPM, and I'd kind of like to know what Z80 CPM is. Okay, I am using a beveled tip. This one is actually, this is labeled as, so when I using the old T12 tips, it was called a BC2 that I used to use, I think. I've moved my soldering station so I can't see it. I've moved my other one. This one is called a, is that it? No, it doesn't sound right. One, two, three, 4, 5. There's crap. I can't find the bloody thing. But anyhow, it's it has a little bevel. If you have a look there, it's about 2 millimeters, I think, at the top. The bevel is about 2 millimeters flat. I just like the beveled edge because you have a nice little sharp tip if you want it, but then you've got the flat area if you want to get that heat pointing downwards. I keep in mind, of course, I am a Mac user, so if anyone has any questions relating to Windows type protection, I'm not really of much use. I do occasionally use Windows for testing, but I am very much a Mac user. Okay, so that's the Pico. So now we've got a U5 SOT23. So that will be, let me have a look. Nope. Nope. That's got to be it. That little guy there. Look at him. That looks like an SOT23. Does that sound right? U5. We'll know in a minute when I look at the thing. There's T1. No. U5. Where's U5? U5. Oh, that's U5 there. So that's this little guy. That's this little guy here. That. It's the only other thing with that footprint. Okay, where's pin 1 on this little sucker? There he is. Pin 1 right there. Oh, Leo's here. Hello there. What you 3D printing there, Leo? Holy shit. I have no idea. Something fell down, but I don't know what. I'll have to get up to investigate. Alright, so that's that. Now we've got a couple of fuses. They're nice and easy to locate. That's a fuse there. And toys tell fuses. That's what fuses look like there. They're a little fuse. There's fuse 1. Now for this one, I'm going to do this a different way again. I'm going to solder one end. Gonna grab the fuse. Gonna solder the other end. There we go. One fuse. Been printing mostly press fit containers using O-rings as waterproof seal on my resin 3D printer. Had a bit of trouble with the containers acting like straws holding resin as it prints. Okay. But figured it out. Well done. I actually 3D printed... so I'm doing a product review of a distiller that allows you to put water in, and then you get distilled water that comes out the other side, and that's all great. But I wanted to use it for distilling alcohol. Now, one of the problems is that alcohol actually reacts with the silicon rubber that they use as an O-ring in these things. So I ended up 3D printing a replacement O-ring in TPU. Now, I haven't properly tested it yet, but it's going to be probably something I do today. Okay, where's the other fuse go? There he is. There's F. It says F. FU1. Zabbaza zabbaza zap. Look at that beautiful bridge I just created. Okay, getting close to completion on this, by the way. What do we got? LED. Let's get an LED. Gotta love an LED. If it's not shining lights at me, I'm not interested. I always get a little bit tripped up by the markings on LEDs because they're not always the same. So this one here, okay, he's got a little pointy. I don't know if you can see the little pointy. So the pointy needs to go in the direction of this little curve here. So if I can just get this thing to get off my bloody tweezers. And there we go. Got to be nice and careful with LEDs because they can melt quite easily. This is one of the reasons why when I tell people I use my soldering iron at like 425 degrees Celsius, they go, "No, it's too hot, you'll melt things." But I just solder very fast. Excuse me. All right, T1. T1. Let's see what T1 is. It is a BS170 FBV. There you go. So, for anyone playing along at home, now you know. Oh, fudge. The thing that gets me about this soldering iron every time I go to use it, every time I put it into the cradle, it switches itself off, or it puts it into standby mode where it actually just drops down to 100 degrees Celsius. Now, admittedly, I know I'm not giving it enough time to go all the way down to 100, but each time I pick it up again, it's heating up again to the temp that I want, and it just does it instantaneously. I'm not having to wait for it to heat up. I'm so very impressed. Okay, J1, J2, J3. We've just got pins and jumpers and things now. J2, okay, J3, that's the socket. I did that first. J1. Okay. USB power off. Okay. All right. So this one here needs to go here. It's like this. Got my nose all long. Sorry, everyone. Foot pedal, foot pedal, foot pedal, foot pedal. Stupid bloody thing. Ow. It does smell, doesn't it? This is the solder from Styrian. It stinks. Excuse me. What's your recommendation for an entry-level soldering station and type of solder to use for a beginner? Generally, when it comes to solder, as long as it's, 6337, is that? I think that's what it is. Yeah, 6337. So 63 tin, 37 lead. Of course, if you're using leaded solder, I prefer to use leaded solder. A lot of people don't. A lot of people like to use the lead-free stuff. But if you're using leaded solder, generally if it's got a breakdown of 63 tin, 73 lead, you're generally going to find a fairly good quality, and get one with a flux core. I use Kester, but it's expensive, and I generally buy it in big rolls because I go through it very quickly. And yes, melted crowns. It's a very good. That's very, very much like that. When it comes to a soldering station, it really comes down to how much money you want to spend. But what I would say is I generally lean towards ones that have the temperature control, rather than just the all-in-ones, where you just got the soldering iron and you just plug it into the wall. I'm also a big fan of these soldering irons these days that use cartridges, because they heat so much faster. So I used to always recommend a particular one, and I still recommend it. It's still a perfectly good soldering station. If you have a look in the description, the link, I don't even know if it still works, but assuming it still works, there's a link in the description to a a budget soldering station. I think it's still there, and it's still a good soldering station. But I'm kind of in a bit of a flux period at the moment in terms of what I'm using, because I'm just changing over now. Really, I've been using a Hacko for years, and I am in the process of changing to a different soldering station for goods, for permanences. So I'm in a bit of a flux state at the moment. Right, that's all the bits. So, if you build it, they will come. There you go. There's the thing. And just in case you want to see how much flux I use, well, a lot. Quite a lot. Okay, sample they sent me has no info on it. Mine has info. There you go. Soak it up. 6337, 0.8 millimeters. That's about it in terms of the info though. Okay, so I'm not going to build the second one today. That would just be folly. Right, now, what did I want to do next? I was thinking about building a blue scuzzy thing, but I'll tell you what I do want to do. I want to see, I might have to pop up to the house for this, but I want to see if this bloody thing works. This bloody thing. Which works when it wants to and doesn't, you know, it works. It just doesn't work when I want to film it for a video. Yes, the funny thing is that you can go out and you can get yourself, what is it, 60-40? I think 60-40 mixture of tin and lead. But there's a very different chemical makeup when they do 6337. It does something quite different. So, yes, I would definitely recommend that. So, this is, let me just think, if I might even have just some stuff here. No, I will have to pop up to the house, so I'll be right back. So, this is Accelerator for an LC475 Quadra 605. You've got a PowerPC 601 CPU there, then you've got a 68040 CPU there. And then what you can do is you can connect this into the computer and then you can flick between the two. You can go from PowerPC to 68040, which is very good. It's a very nifty little thing. Now what I really liked about this one is I picked this up for super cheap on eBay. I picked it up cheap because two of the pins were busted. The one here and the one here. And what I did was I drilled a little teeny weeny hole in there and I put my own pin in and it worked beautifully and it's been fine and it's been working for ages. Everything has just been delicious. And then all of a sudden it just stopped working and I don't know why. So what I did with this is I gave it a good old clean in the Ultrasonic and I just want to see if it's going to work again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press the little back soon button. I'm going to go up and grab my bits. I'll be right. Can you help fixing my bombed Performer 200 logic board? I'm afraid not. I don't do any battery bomb boards anymore. It's just not worth it. The time investment with no guarantee of reward. So let's just say, for example, for argument's sake, I sit there and I spend 8 hours trying to repair it, and then I get to the end of it and it still doesn't work. You know, where does the 8 hours of money come from? Is it someone going to pay it to me even though I haven't repaired the computer? Chances are no, they're not going to want to pay for 8 hours worth of work that hasn't resulted in a repaired computer. And it's just too risky. I started working on an SE30 battery bombed SE30 a while ago. It's my own stupid fault, really, probably for doing this. Now, I did this more for the live stream than I did for anything. I didn't really have particularly high expectations of being able to repair it, but it was something to do. And I'd been working away on it, and I've been having all this progress, and I've been repairing all these traces, and it was great, and I did a couple of live streams on it. And then I got to a certain point on the board, and I hadn't even seen it before. You know, I hadn't been looking at this part of the board. I only looked at this part of the board later on. And when I looked at that particular part of the board, and I realized that that part of the board was shot, that all of it was gone, that I couldn't even hold solder anymore, you know, and it was going to, you know, it virtually was the point where it was like, no, this cannot be repaired. And, you know, it's just soul destroying to spend all that time and then find out something can't be repaired. So, yeah, I generally don't touch anything that's battery bombed anymore, unfortunately. But I do try and impart the skills so that people can have a crack at it themselves if they want to. But I am just going to press the back soon button as I go and grab a thing so that I can test the thing here, and all the things will hopefully work. Back in a sec. Hello. Okay. Right. I haven't seen Jack 68K today, I don't think. Okay. Alrighty then. So I have two LC475 boards here. Both work. And what we need to do is because I started wondering whether the problem was with the board. Looking for blame anywhere. Okay. God, that looks like that's about to come undone. Okay, we got a little spiker there. And going to plonk. Hello to Ruben. Did a LC475 reload, was a nice reload to do and worked right out of the gate. Yeah, I can imagine this would be quite a nice board to work on. It's a nice small size. There's nothing particularly, sort of horrifying about it. So, yeah, I imagine that would be a pretty satisfying reloaded to do. I have to confess, I'm a huge fan of this computer, the 475, 605. I've always thought it's a really nifty little thing. Right, so I've got this connected, got some VRAM in there, got some RAM, got a speaker so we get some sound, got a power supply. Let's plug this in and see what happens. So what I'm hoping for is just a chime straight off the bat, but the main symptoms I've been getting are either complete silence or a sad Mac chime. It chimed, so it worked. That definitely worked, so that's great. I can't keep it running like this for long because I've got no heatsink on this here. And this little PowerPC 601 gets freaking hot. Yep, it's already too hot to touch now. So, right, well, that's a really good sign that actually worked. Now, will it keep working when I get it back up into the house? Who knows, but that's a really good sign. So I can put the heatsink back on and get some goop on here. Goop. Late to the party, didn't get the invite. My apologies, Paul. But thank you for joining. I'll just give you a little quick recap. I've been whinging the whole time because I've been sick. It's been just like the virtually from start to finish. I've been complaining about the fact that I got influenza, and I've been really sick, and I'm still sick, and to the point that I will probably not be able to live stream for that much longer because just all this talking is taking it out of me. I know that sounds stupid. Talking? Come on. What's wrong with you? Oh, I've got a bent pin. That's what's wrong with me. Far out. How bent is that pin? How did that happen? Oh! How bent is it? Snapped off. That's how bent it is. Is it an important pin? That's the question. I think I have a spare 25, so I think I'm okay, but yeah, I do have a spare 25, but that's a bit of a shit. I'm going to have to look up the pin out, because it might be a pin that's not needed on this, but more likely it's something that is needed. Shazbut. Okay, so I need some goo. I need some heat sink goo stuff. Thermal compound stuff. I have some. Just need to grab it. Is this the stuff? Or is that empty? That's empty. Vevor. Is that it? Oh, I think there's a little bit there. Yeah. That's not coming out. I do have some other stuff. It's here, but I don't think it's been put away, which means it's just under things. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, bumping the microphone there. I have no idea how that pin got bent on that little CPU. That's very disappointing. Very disappointing. Most disappointment. Oh, it can help. Oh, okay, cool. I'm well on my way to preventing cancer. That's awesome. Well, my immune system has had two big whacks lately because it had shingles and then it had the flu. It was fun. Sorry, I'm just hunting. Found it. Things just move around my desk organically. They just, I have them in one spot and then poof, all of a sudden it's in another spot. Right, so, right. I hope I get to feeling better soon too. Anyone know if there's any active work on a reloaded version of that board, Classic 2? That's a good question. It's not funny actually because the Classic 2, whoopsie, the Classic 2 doesn't get a lot of love, does it? Because I think one of the things with the Classic 2 is when it came out, it was to some extent meant to be like a replacement for the SE30 in that it was a 68030 CPU. Probably more of a replacement, an upgrade for a Mac Classic. But, instead of the 68K on the Macintosh Classic, we're now on a 68030. But because it was a 32-bit CPU on a 16-bit bus, and it had a 10 megabyte limit, it really was nothing compared to the SE30. The SE30 could outperform the Classic 2, even though it was so much older. So the Classic 2, don't get me wrong, it's a good computer. I have several of them. And it's a nice compact little board. And of course, you can put a Classic 2 board into a Classic 1 chassis. I mean, if you get hold of a Mac Classic 1 and you get a Classic 2 board, you can pop it in there and give that computer a real upgrade, big old upgrade from 4 megabytes up to 10 megabytes and from 68K, 68000 to a 68030. So it's a good, I like them in that regard. But, I think a lot of the time they get compared to the SE30, and of course they're just not in the same league. Excuse me. So, it is, I think, 2 weeks, I think, until it's the shortest day of the year down here, which of course will mean the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. And of course that for me is always a very joyous time of year. When it's cold and awful, I take solace, I get some pleasure in knowing that the days are slowly starting to get longer rather than getting shorter. Because at the moment the days are still getting shorter, and that's just depressing for me. Which way around does this go? Do you reckon that way? Or that way? I reckon that way. One goes in there. Here we go. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to give this another crack. Is it? All right. Let's have another go, see if it still works. Still working. Feeling good. I'm making a video on this thing, right? I've already done a huge amount of work for it. I've written a massive script for it and everything like that. And I just I couldn't get this thing to work. and it was a big poo. So, yeah. Oh, this is the wrong board. It's meant to be on this board. I'll try it on this board. You like that shirt? Thank you very much. It's a nice way of being able to let people know I like Queen and Star Wars at the same time. How many shirts can you say do that? I just ordered an SE30 LCD kit from Zigzag Joe. Cannot wait. Yeah, that is so cool. I'll probably be in the market for that myself because I accidentally busted the CPU in this one. I've got a bunch of projects that I need to be working on that it's just, time gets in the way. Got a full-time job and all that sort of stuff. I've got a project that I'm going to be working on where I'm going to be designing a portable SE30. I've got this one here, which is, I'm calling this the Quadra 4750. And then there's another one. Oh, yeah, there's another one where I'm actually doing a build, another two actually. One of them I'm not going to tell you because it's a secret, but there's one build that I'm going to be working on, and that's going to be a Raspberry Pi build. And then I've got another Raspberry Pi build that I'm doing. So, yeah. Got my Lisa up and working finally, now working on the profile and the Sun 20 hard drive. That is so cool. I've had quite a bit of experience with the old Lisa. Not all of it fun. They're not a fun thing really to work on, if I'm to be completely honest. I guess the one good thing is that once you get over your initial fear, because I'll be honest, I was terrified of that when I very first started working on it. I didn't want to touch it. I was scared to open it up. I was scared to do all sorts of things with it. And I when I very first worked on it, I repaired what I was asked to do, and then that was kind of it. And then I sort of walked away. But then it started developing more problems, so I started to have to get a bit more hands-on. And so when we started having problems with the video, there's a board that sits behind the it's behind the CRT, and I was able to whip that out and recap it. And so I did definitely start getting a bit more confidence working with them. But when I very first started using someone else's Lisa, I was just shit scared of the thing. I was shit scared of touching it and just scared of breaking it. Anyone who has never used a Lisa or never been close to a Lisa or anything, the one thing that I found most unusual about it, most surprising, the thing that really did surprise me when I started using it, was we've all seen pictures of the original Macintosh, like the Macintosh 128K, 512K or whatever, and it's got the little 9-inch screen there. And then you see a picture of the Lisa, and it's got a little black and white screen in there as well. And my brain had always just assumed that the Lisa screen was the same size as the screen in a compact Mac, so the 9-inch screen. And so my brain had always, whenever I saw a photo of a Lisa, I had just always based it around that screen being a 9-inch screen. But it's not, it's a 12-inch screen. And that was the thing that really got me the very first time. When I sat down in front of it, I was like, oh, this screen's huge. So hello, Carthor, welcome. So that was really one of the big things for me that surprised me about a Lisa when I very first used one. The other thing, of course, that I found baffling was the fact that it has what's the word? I can't think of the word. Not square pixels. There's a word for that. But those pixels aren't square. So it's actually the resolution of the thing. It's not equal across the horizontal and the vertical. And what happens is the screen then just stretches up the pixels. So it's actually it's squished out. Anamorphic. Thank you to Welcome to Macintosh for remembering anamorphic, because that's a word that's in my brain here somewhere, but just, every now and again it vacates. So yeah, it has anamorphic pixels, and so the resolution is a certain width and a certain height, but the height is actually smaller than the width. So the screen actually stretches the image upwards to make it look like a square image, even though it's not. And that sucks really. All right, so we're going to give this another try on a different board. If this works, I'm going to just consider myself happy. And yeah, that worked as well. So happy joy, joy, happy joy, joy. I'm going to just leave this as it is. I'm going to hopefully try and connect that up upstairs, and we'll see if we're all good for that. Now, a little bit earlier on, I was working on this thing. I was soldering it, like this guy here. I should always follow this up. I shouldn't just assume that people know this. But this is covered in flux. What I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to stick this in an ultrasonic cleaner. So over here, I have a 30 litre. No, this one's only a 10 litre. I have a 10 litre. This is a 30. This is a 10. I have a 10 litre ultrasonic cleaner here. Inside it, it's filled with distilled water and a detergent. The detergent is a very specific type of detergent made for cleaning PCBs. I buy it here in Australia from a company called Cleantech. Because of the nature of these ultrasonic cleaning chemicals, they're kind of hard to get across the ocean. So I would generally recommend to people in America to use I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me. A particular type of cleaning fluid, but here in Australia, we can't get that one. We can't get Branson EC. There we go. Thank you. We can't get Branson EC here in Australia. So I've gone to an Australian provider, and people often ask me, they say, oh, what do you use? What do you use? And I say, well, if you're in Australia, this is what I recommend. But if you're not in Australia, I can't really recommend it because you can't buy it from overseas. But anyhow, it's a specific detergent designed for cleaning PCBs. It is designed to wash away things like grime and muck and flux, while still making sure that things like all the metals and everything are all protected on these boards. Now, I've had people that have contacted me and said you can just use dish soap if you want to, and if that's what you want to use, if you're fine, I'm not going to criticize anyone for that. Save some dollars, but I use this stuff because it's designed. So I distilled water with detergent diluted in it, this Cleantech stuff it's called Electro. I heat this up to around about 45 degrees Celsius, and then I drop this in and I give it a go for around about probably one like this where it's just flux, probably 5 minutes aside. That's about all I'll need to get the flux off. If I was dealing with something that was properly dirty, like an old computer that I've been restoring and I'm wanting to get filth off it as well, I'm probably more likely to run that about probably 15 minutes aside. So I do that in the ultrasonic cleaner, then I take it out of the ultrasonic cleaner, just shake all of the excess off, then I drop it into isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol washes any of that detergent away, but it also helps to displace the water, and of course alcohol dries at a much lower temperature than water, so it dries a lot quicker. I then pop it in a little toaster oven that I have down here. I have it set at about sort of 50-60 degrees Celsius, and then I just run it in there for an hour until it's dry, and then these things, they then come out looking absolutely brand spanking new. Okay, MG Chemicals 414A can get from Amazon USA site. That's great. That's good. I did try some stuff once that was, I won't say recommended to me. I asked this person, I said, what do you use? And they said, Ambersil. They use a product called Ambersil. So I bought a bottle of Ambersil and I absolutely hated it. I found that it was way too harsh on the metals. When I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, metals that went in there shiny came out like dull and like over eroded. So I tried it with a slightly more dilute solution and it was still crap. So I tipped it out of the ultrasonic and I've never used it again. But yeah, I highly recommend the old ultrasonic cleaner for cleaning. Of course, if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, the next thing to do is just get a little container with some either distilled water in it. You can use distilled water with a detergent. Just don't use tap water. Or you can use some isopropyl alcohol. I've got some isopropyl alcohol here, which has gone white. I don't know if there's a chemical reaction that's happened in here or something, but something has gone in here with my... sort of, this is what I use for cleaning my 3D models, but some sort of chemical reaction has happened and there is just like this white sludge in there. But anyhow, I'm going to try and clean that up because isopropyl alcohol is too expensive to to just let it go like that. Got the 30-litre Vevor that you recommended. Good on you. Welcome to Macintosh. I cannot speak highly enough about that one. Now, I don't use it all the time. When do I use it? I use it if I need to clean lots of things at once, because it's very big, or if I need to clean a really, really big board. But I'm still very happy to use the 10-litre for if I'm dropping a little Mac Classic in there, or an LC475 or something like that. Or a little thing like this, little thing that I've just been working on today, a little tiny guy like that, I just drop it into the 10-litre. But the 30-litre is just so good. I've been able to clean things that I would not have been able to clean in it, and it's great. It's not too loud. You know, you'd think it's going to be deafeningly loud, but it's not. It's really not too bad for the size. And yeah, old toothbrush, you could do with the old toothbrush. All the board you sent back to, this is Gibbertronics talking to Will. All the board you sent back to me smelled like freshly laundered towels. That's funny. Vevor is a very funny animal, isn't it? I mean, they regularly contact me and say, hey, would you like to review a product? And of course, my reaction to that is, I'm not just going to review anything. I'm not going to review something that has no relevance to my viewers. I want to make sure I review something that is going to be of some importance. So some of the things that I've done, I've done this microscope arm with this microscope. I use a different microscope head because this is a trinocular one, whereas the Vevor one wasn't trinocular. But this arm thing, which has been pretty good. I mean, it's a bit stiff sometimes, but it does the job. So I've been using that one ever since, I reviewed it. So that's the microscope arm. I reviewed the ultrasonic cleaner. I reviewed the Fume extractor, and of course the Fume extractor has just been brilliant. That thing has just been life-changing. That just totally changed my sort of soldering workflow and everything. That's been great. And of course I'm doing a distiller right now, a water distiller. And I'm just about finished that review. I've just got to record all those bits with the camera pointing to my face where I'm saying, hi there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. In this video, I'm going to review... yeah, so I might even try and record some of that this afternoon if I have the energy. I might need a bit of a lie down. Yeah, and so, yeah, well, they contact me and they say, hey, they contacted me recently and they said, hey, we've got this amazing 3-phase motor generator thingy. Would you like to review it? And I'm like, no. It's of no interest to me. It's of no interest to my viewers. It's not the sort of stuff. So I'm always looking out for things that will actually have some sort of relevance to my viewers and to my channel. And then I'm more than happy to review stuff. And I'm always very honest about the reviews that I do. If I find a fault in them, I will highlight that fault. If I'm using a product which I don't think is going to suit me, I will generally explain why it doesn't suit me and who it will suit. Because that's the whole thing. I mean, just because something isn't necessarily the right thing for me doesn't mean... I've reviewed a few soldering irons in the past, and they've been those little USB ones. They're fantastic, and I have one in my toolkit, but I don't use it in the workshop, and they're not ones that I would want to use in my workshop. I like to use ones like this. I like ones that have a nice thin handle like this, very light handle, very short distance between where your fingers are and where the tip of the soldering iron is. So this is what I use when I want to work in the workshop. It isn't necessarily what I have in my toolkit if I'm going to go and do some repairs on location somewhere. I like to have the little compact USB-C soldering irons, similar to these. I'm sure I've got some floating around here. Yeah, like these ones. This sort of soldering iron. But if you have a look at this, if you compare where you hold your hand here to where the tip is to here, you can see the big difference there in control, because you've just got so much more distance between here and here. Oh God, thank goodness that's not hot. You've got a lot more distance there compared to, from here to here. This one is hot, so I won't touch it. Yeah. But there's really only one thing about this soldering iron that I don't like, and that's you can press the mode button and it'll show you a little chart of the temperature of your iron. It'll actually show you the temperature on a little bar or a little line chart, almost like an oscilloscope sort of output. But when the thing goes off and comes back on again, it reverts back to the default view, and I would like it to not revert to the default view. But it's a relatively minor thing. How long have I been going for? An hour and 43. I'm probably going to wrap things up, and I do apologise. I would love to go for a lot longer, but I'm just I'm still not 100%, and doing all this talking and everything is kind of taking it out of me a little bit, just from the breathing side of things. But we did get to test out this soldering iron, I think fairly well, and I'm really liking it. And I'm really liking my 3D stand as well, so I'll definitely make that available for people to download and print themselves. It doesn't need any supports when printing, because that's how I design things. I design things that they print without supports, because I hate printing supports. Thank you, Foxhound77, and thank you to everyone for all their well wishes in my illness. It wasn't really my intention of coming on here and being a sob story and looking for sympathy and everything, because it's, everyone gets sick. It's more just sort of letting people know that I am here, and the fact that I've been sort of invisible for a while and haven't been producing much content. And that's the reason why I've just been having to look after myself. I'm going to have schnitty for dinner tonight. Well, the Australians will know what I'm talking about, but no one else will. Schnitty for dinner. I can't drink wine at the moment. I more or less haven't had anything to drink since I got sick. I just haven't been really able to, But then the other night, Friday night, I'd sort of, I'd been getting better day by day, getting better and better. And so Friday night, I just sort of said to myself, I'm going to have a couple of wines with dinner tonight. And I really regretted that my body was not ready. I woke up at 3 o'clock the next morning with just the most unbelievable, blinding headache. And I'm someone who can put away a lot of wine and not get a headache. So my body was just telling me, no, you are not ready for this yet, my friend. You must stop. So yes, I'm teetotaling at the moment, which is, well, not my favourite thing, but, what are you going to do? Sad Bruce chime. And I do apologise during this live stream for any weird noises I've made from my lungs or from my nose. It's one of the most revolting things in the world, having to listen to someone else's respiratory system. But it's just life. But it is look. I'm improving. I'm better today than I was yesterday, and I was better yesterday than I was the day before. So next week I plan to live stream again, and I've been able to record stuff. I mean, for a while there I couldn't, because my voice sounded so weird. But I think I'm actually good enough now to stand in front of a camera and say stuff without people going, he's sick. Because you do hear it. You do hear it sometimes when people are doing their videos, and you just hear sort of illness, from the way their voice sounds. So yeah, all went well. Soldering iron is performing really great. You can't see this because the camera's not pointing on it, but the display is just the duck's guts. So this tells you everything that it's doing when it's doing it. So right now it's telling me that the iron is 100 degrees C, and it's telling me that in 28 minutes the unit will shut down. So it's sort of a little countdown timer there, showing you that it's currently in its sleep mode, and its sleep mode sits at 100 degrees C, and then it'll switch itself off in 30 minutes. Then the minute you take it out, bang, it fires up again, up comes the heat, and you're cooking. So I'm pretty impressed with it. Away for 2 months, good grief, that's a long time. I'm not sure I could handle being away from home for 2 months. I'm such a homebod. Is the front and back marked well on the PCB? That's a good question. It says KBD, keyboard. So that's got to be the front there. It's a bit windy outside, which is why the camera's moving. It's making the shed wobble. So yeah, KBD there. So that means that's going to be pointing to the front of the computer. So that's good. It's good to have that, because I know that these you can put these around the wrong time. How many dollary dues does it cost? That's a good question. I have no freaking idea. I have to have a look at the Fnirsi website. Keyboard, keyboard, my kingdom for a keyboard. Here it is. Shame about my footpad thingies. They're working. It's just what's his name? Function keys. It's OBS is just ignoring function keys now, for some unknown reason. Right. So Fnirsi. I'm just going to have a quick look at their website, and I'll tell you. Here we go. So I'm looking at Australian dollar dues here, and of course, keep in mind a lot of these products you can often see on AliExpress as well. So products, soldering tools. Here we go. So this is. I'm just gonna check here for a sec. Come on. Here we go. Oh, you stupid thing. Products, soldering tools. There we go, that's worked. Okay, so this is currently showing me Australian dollar dues. So this is 174 Australian dollar dues. That's for the base model. If you go this model here, which I have, which has all of the tips. So this has 9 tips and 2 handles. This one's 238 Australian dollar dues. So I'm not sure what that is in the US of the dollars, but let's have a look. If I change it over to, here we go, AU, US dollars, there we go, right down the bottom. It's alphabetical. So base unit 116 US dollars and top unit 157 US dollars. So, but anyhow, that will be in the description and whatnot. 159 US dollars Amazon for all the tips model. There you go. Yeah, so 157 on the Fnirsi website there, so comparable in price. So yeah, I think I think, you know, if you wanted to run sort of like some comparisons to like Hacko's soldering stations, you know, a big difference. And the Hacko interfaces are just arse. This thing here, the interface is very, very intuitive. It's got 4 buttons on it, 5 buttons on it, and it's just a very, very intuitive thing to figure out. You don't need an instruction manual to figure out how it works. You can just press the buttons and figure it out yourself. So, and it does have a lovely, beautiful color screen. You know, what can I say? I don't know, you know, I mean, that appeals to me, my base nature. Okay, well, I'm going to jump across here to this here, and I'm going to say thank you to everyone for joining me today. I want to apologise that today was a little bit of a non-event in terms of the live stream. What the purpose of today was to, number one, have a little bit of a test of the soldering station, but number 2 was also just to try and get back into things, because I've been, you know, out of the picture for a while, not feeling very well, and I'm just trying to ease into things, and you know, sort of just remind everyone I'm here and that I haven't passed away. So I did that. I managed to do that. So I hope everyone enjoyed the stream, even if it was a little bit on the dull side. So I apologise. I'll come up with all sorts of interesting stories and anecdotes for the next one. Yes, thank you to everyone for all their well wishes. I do appreciate that. Yes, I'm on the mend. Definitely getting better day by day. Getting better every day. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks again for joining me. I hope to see you with the next one. Hopefully got another, you know, a pre-recorded video coming soon. I'm so close to finishing it. I just need to get the energy to do it. And I will find the little button here. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do one of these. Smash that like button. So please feel free to smash that like button if you like this sort of content. So thanks again to everyone. Thank you for joining. Thanks for keeping the chat lively, and thanks for keeping me company while I mucked around here today. And I hope to see you with the next one. So, here I was. I thought I was on the right button, but I wasn't. I was about to cross across to the chickens. Have a good one. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.